Miller, Masonic Storyteller, Anarchist Atheist, www.plotm.com. Kind of cleared the air for the Europeans, I guess. So we're looking at a mosaic here. This is the other ships passing in the night type of situation. We can see railroad, locomotive, steam engine, some communications cables there. It's a very nice mosaic. What I want to talk about is, I noticed that one of my videos is missing already. I don't know if that was an executive order or what. I mean, Lauren, Tina, I know it's tough negotiating with my father-in-law over my property and stuff like that, but they got one of them off. It's tough. Tough negotiating with him, but he can interfere with the government, all kinds of stuff. It's no big deal though. So we're going to talk about this mosaic, and you can see it's 1902. Now 1902 kind of brings me around to 2002, and the blanket statement I wanted to make about the United States is I'm still here. You've provided me with no income, no money. You spend trillions on your defense budget. You spend trillions on cybersecurity and building these wireless networks in the United States, and I know that. And I've seen speculations of the budget that you people spend on this security crap. And if you're going to spend that kind of money, you need to spend the equal amount of money on your mental health system, because this is unacceptable. You owe it to the people that are mentally ill before you start investing in all of this cybersecurity bullcrap and putting all this wireless crap up. Okay? So now that we've cleared the air, now we're going to talk about that mosaic. 1902, that brings me around to 2002. That's right when again, I'll come back around to two ships passing in the night, but it's we're gonna go into some things here. So as I've hinted, you have a generation that clicks into contracts. 13-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds clicking into contracts. You have a mobile phone industry with contracts that go out a year, 2 years, 3 years. Charles Gilbert Kohler explains to me that every contract on the planet has non-disclosure agreements. Now, as far as I know, your mobile phone doesn't have non-disclosure agreements, but what would happen if it did, right? We have this generation that believes in superpowers and superhuman powers and X-Men and all kinds of stuff, right? So if they start like hearing weird stuff like, hey, you're like the future FBI, CIA, NSA guy, all right? So just listen to what I say, and you can hear thoughts all of a sudden, okay? So just don't worry about it, all right? You get to go mind fight people, right? I want to talk about kind of, I know it sounds delusional, but we're coming back to our 2002, right? The Patriot Act was signed by a certain president. It was passed by Congress, though. So I've always heard this argument, for the past 14 years. I've told my friends, family, I said, doesn't it bother you that there's all this technology everywhere and microphones everywhere and people could hear you and stuff like that? And they didn't really seem concerned. And I've always heard from like the conservative sector, like, you know what, if you're not doing anything illegal, if you have nothing to hide, if you're just a normal American person, what do you care if the government can listen to you or see you, right? That's the argument I put up, or they put up, for the Patriot Act being totally fine, and it's fine for the government to listen to and spy on you in the United States. That's the arguments I've heard. So why would those older conservative people feel that way? Did they start to develop weird mind powers where they believed they could talk to each other in their head and they didn't need to talk in front of microphones? Is that an option? I mean, is that something that would be based on an income or amount of money set aside in their accounts? That kind of structure? I don't know. I kind of have some theories on that. But I also want to talk about corporate amnesia. Corporate amnesia involves the economy. And there have been multiple instances, I don't know about in Europe, but in the United States, where there was a savings and loans scandal in the 80s. There was another, we have the housing market in the early 2000s. I think something happened in the 90s, and I can't recall it right now. But we have these cycles where all these people kind of build up this economy, make money, and then it fails. And it's called corporate amnesia because people forget that this whole thing fails time and time again. And they just blow it off. So if these older folks like to argue that, hey, I've been able to do it forever. I served in the military and stuff, and I've always been able to do it, okay? That's, I believe that's corporate amnesia. I think you've probably been able to do it since 2003. And, whatever. Again, I'm spouting fairy tale mysteries, right? That's my theory there. So we have our two ships passing the night. We have our 13-year-olds clicking in, and we have our old folks, 70, 80, sitting in their house saying, come on, Grandma and Grandpa, when you go out and you see those, the black people and the Asian people, you got to mind fight them in your head when you're walking around. It's awesome. Come on. Yeah, you've always been able to do it, all right? So that's my little spout on non-disclosure agreements. What's the worst that could happen if everybody's using mobile phones that shoot waves everywhere, and then all of a sudden the mobile phone companies decide to put you into non-disclosure agreements, right? So on that note, I'm coming back over. I just want to,